Welcome to the Innovators Insider Podcast live. We are live today taking a look at the newest Onshape release 1.146. We'll have some friends of ours that are coming in, I hope, and we'll have some interaction with our audience. And driving our look at the update today is the professor, Michael LaFleche. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Richard. Yeah, it's certainly early in the morning for you in Vegas. They don't have clocks in the casinos, do they?
They do not. And they pump in that oxygen for 24 hours a day, and it just keeps people bright and shiny.
That explains your radiant skin and hair and everything. It totally makes sense. Totally makes sense now. Okay.
Well, this is obviously my favorite time of the day. I love early mornings. I get a lot of stuff done. I'm really excited about our show today. And I hope we'll have some of our friends that'll join us today. So,
yeah, I hope this time will be good for our friends over in Europe, as well as our early morning, well, not really that early morning East Coasters. There's when I went to work, as a real life engineer, my day started at 7 a.m. at the factory, right? Yep. So, hopefully everybody's coffeed up and ready for a show talking about some of the great improvements.
You bet.
In Onshape in this last update that came out last night. So that's how we're doing it this morning. The show didn't feel like waking everybody up, rolling everybody out of bed. But.
Well, it's and I hope we'll get some friends from this side of the U.S. on the West Coast joining us. I know it's early, but hey, I'm up, right?
Yeah, we're streaming on YouTube and LinkedIn today at the same time, so we're really excited to do that. I will see how that goes, and please give us some feedback. If anybody's watching now, I can see some people are watching. Feel free to comment in. There's a comment section in here. Look who's here already. Our friend John McClary. Welcome back.
Welcome, John. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So definitely, add your comments, share any experiences that you might have had in the few hours that the release has been out. If you have any, feel free. But let's just get right into it, Richard.
I was going to say, the comments are piling up in the forum, so I'm sure people are taking a good hard look at this release. So.
All right. Let's put something up here on the screen for us to look at here, other than our very nice faces. Biggest improvement. I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. Biggest improvement in this release: mixed modeling.
Absolutely.
Mixed modeling. Mixed modeling is, well, let's talk about what that is first, right?
Sure.
So, it's what is mixed modeling? So let's share my screen here. If I can get this loaded up. Remember, we're doing this live, so we're living on the edge.
You betcha.
All right.
We've got another guest that's joined us on the LinkedIn feed.
Oh, excellent.
Good morning, Sagar.
All right. So you can probably see this little robotic dog here that I have. It's about a Chihuahua-sized robotic dog. It has LiDAR on it. It's got these cool legs that do stuff and walk around. And I have this foot that was something that was maybe a scanned in object. You can see there's no real good foot on this poor dog right now. It needs to have some sort of rubbery cushioned thing or something to help it get over different terrain and everything. So I actually have an STL of this foot. Okay. So, we've been able to handle STLs and Onshape for quite some time as far as importing it, looking at it. There were a number of things you could do with it. For example, you could actually touch it and measure it and, kind of evaluate what it looks like, right? So that was ahead of where, some people are what they're used to doing with an STL and a proper mechanical CAD system. But where it really didn't really go all the way through Onshape, right? For example, and just kind of step one, there'll be different levels of how we can handle mixed modeling here. But when I talk about mixed modeling, it's mixing BREP solid modeling, which is what we all kind of know and love, right? With, you know, with all the different CAD systems out there, whether it's Inventor, SolidWorks, Creo, whatever it is, and Onshape, of course, they're all BREP solid modelers. That's really the definition of what they are. Of course, you can create surface models and solid models. Onshape has introduced the ability to handle mesh models now in Onshape. So what that means is that we can bring in a mesh from a variety of different applications. You know, Richard, there's probably a bunch of things that you can bring in STL files from, right? Like 3D scanners, you know, anything else out there?
Well, yeah, the internet is absolutely full of STL files. You know,
That's
people
true.
have been posting those since the mid 90s, you know, as examples of things that they were doing, you know, as rapid prototyping and additive manufacturing came along. And, you know, there's some really, really unique models out there, and you can do some incredible things with them now that we have the mixed modeling.
Yeah, it's I really think it removes a lot of obstacles. And oh, there's Eduardo. Good morning, Eduardo. How are you?
Yep.
Or good afternoon to you, right? So,
and the same for Thomas. Thomas is watching us from Germany. So good morning, Thomas.
Welcome, Thomas. And Sagar. Thank you as well for
and
joining
Sebastian
us
just showed up. So
hey,
we've got quite a
Sebastian.
crowd coming in today. This is great.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Just, you know, adding to your comments there, Richard. You know, Sebastian's backing you up here.
Yep.
So, yeah, let's start with the simple stuff, like stuff that would just drive me crazy that I just couldn't do. So, what I'm going to do, you know, I have this STL file that I've imported, and maybe I just want to drop it into an assembly. That's all I want to do, perhaps. Maybe that's just like step number one, right?
Yep.
We couldn't do that before. You couldn't insert like a step or an STL or any kind of mesh object in an assembly. But, you know, here I'm just browsing into my other documents. Here's the foot that I've recently imported. And you can see it's quite happy now to live in an assembly, and you can mate it up. Now, maybe one thing I might recommend is putting some sort of mate connector on the STL first before, you know, mating it, because, you know, it's a little different, right? You need some kind of really specific place, because an STL file is not an accurate model, right? It's like, as you can see, it's a tessellated model. And
no, I love me some mate connectors.
Yeah, so you stick a mate connector on this thing somewhere, add a sketch. You might need a little help to get the mate connector on, but once you have it, you're going to be able to mate it and put it into your assembly and do those kind of things. So that's the first thing that I thought of when I saw this last night being dropped, that, you know, that would be a use case. But there are other use cases, and perhaps more advanced than what I just showed. So we have that foot, and I have, you know, this document here with the leg here. You can see we've been doing a lot of, it's almost hard to see the design history. There's a lot of branches, lots of design. Little demo project we're working on internally. And, you know, I have this nice kind of leg here, but I want to put the foot on it in a kind of part studio environment, because I want to drill a hole through both the imported STL for the rubber foot and this regular BREP lower leg solid model natively designed in Onshape, right? So how would you do that? Well, you would use the derive function, right, to insert one body into another. So that's a fully supported workflow, right? So here's my foot again. And, you know, luckily it pops in the same place, because that's the way I exported it, just for expediency's sake. But you can see, if you look right over here, we have the lower leg, the connection rod pin, and we have the foot itself. And you see the foot has a slightly different icon. This was also available in the assembly. I didn't mention it, but it has a slightly different icon. And you can tell it kind of looks like a tessellated part instead of like a regular part. So that's your first warning that we have an actual mesh body. It's important to know that it's a mesh, because there are certain rules and conditions that apply when you get into mixed mesh modeling inside of Onshape. For example,
well,
you know,
if
go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, instead of a warning, let's call it a clue.
A clue. Yes, a clue is much nicer to say. So, it's like, maybe it's like Sherlock Holmes and not Moriarty. Oh my gosh, we don't want Moriarty here, but it's too early in the morning. My God. All right, let's do this. Let's actually drill a hole through these parts. So, I'm not going to get too fancy. I'm just going to drop in a 3mm hole, extrude, and of course, you can extrude, remove, right? Solid remove. What's the merge scope, right? Well, I want it to drill through the foot, and you can see it's certainly drilling through the foot. And I also want it to drill through the leg. So one feature to drill through both of those parts, right? Let me just hide the leg so you can see, that we got the hole here, and we got the hole in the leg now too. And the hole in the leg, you see the lower leg is still a B-rep solid model right now.
Yep.
Right? The foot is still an STL model. Never gonna change. Once it's imported, it is what it is. There are situations where if you use certain parts of STL or mesh geometries with the B-rep models, that B-rep model may become a mesh. So that's something to be considerate about, because in Onshape it'll be fine, but they're not all CAD and downstream systems will support the mesh parasolid format. Onshape uses parasolid as its main design kernel.
Sure.
And we're utilizing technology from that to achieve this mesh, right? So not all technologies downstream will support this. So that's why we made it very clear that this is a tessellated mesh-based model.
Yep, the clue.
Yeah, the clue.
Just welcome in a couple more guests. We've got folks from all over the world here today. I'm so excited and so happy about this.
Yes.
Doug Davey is here from South Africa, and Tanvir from India. We've got, I hope I don't mess this one up, Ola Lekan from Nigeria.
Yes,
welcome.
Thank you for joining us. Yes, thank you so much.
And France has popped in. Hello, Jack. Good morning. Oh, well, good afternoon, I guess, to you folks.
Bonjour, bon appetit. My French is terrible. So my apologies.
Let me try it. It's bonjour.
Yeah, I can get that far. Yeah, I have a very French name. My name is LaFleche, the arrow. But my classes are definitely not helping me right now. Yep. Yeah, we got Bulgaria here in the house as well. So
fantastic. Welcome. This is just, thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. So mixed modeling, right? Big deal.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of questions. I encourage, the users, to go to the forums, work with your customer success people. It's a new thing that you have at your disposal to kind of help, remove some of the obstacles that get in the way, because, we live in a world where, like Richard, you said, we have STL files up on the internet. Sometimes it makes sense to use them. Sometimes you have parts that you 3D scan and you bring them in.
And in my case, with the tiny house, there are a lot of detail items that are going to be done, when I'm finishing things up. And there are some very artistic people that have created some very wonderful models that are available in the STL format. And now I'll be able to use those models and also incorporate some of the changes that I might want to customize my tiny house. So I'm really looking forward to using mixed modeling in Onshape.
Yeah. Let's. I can't wait to see the house. Maybe you can download some bushes from Thingiverse or something.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely, landscaping. I love it.
I'm just kidding. Please do not use Onshape for landscaping. Okay, sorry. Anyway, what is next on? Actually, I'm trying to think if there's anything else in mixed modeling that might be beneficial, but like those were the two things that just popped out in my head, like, being able to modify a mesh model, being able to insert a mesh model. Oh, and the other thing too, like if anybody's using like the generative software programs out there, that's another source of, why you might want to bring this into Onshape, right? Yep. So, people that are, like Creo Generate, for example, the generative program, just you can bring that data in now and place it into an Onshape model, for example.
Yep.
The STL file cannot be fully converted to a solid. That's not really the goal of this. It's more we're supporting the mesh-based format inside of the system. So that's really what we're trying to work with.
Yep.
So we got a few other people that have just joined us. We'll say hello.
Too Tall Toby is here this morning.
Tall Toby's
How about that?
here.
Welcome, Toby Schnars.
Toby. Jacob, you have a question bouncing between a bunch of apps, quality of life, being able to match all the functions as much as possible. That's a great point, Jacob.
Yep, and that's his. I don't know if you saw that, but that was his question up above.
Yeah.
Will Onshape ever update with fully customizable navigation?
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, you can customize certain things in Onshape. It's tough in a web browser, to be honest, right? Because think of all the keyboards and languages around the world. It's a difficult thing to support every single customization because of that. There are things that we have done, of course, right? So we can customize the toolbar and put any command you want in there, or you can hit the letter S on your keyboard, much like some other CAD systems that we know, and customize that. And no matter which machine you sign on to, you'll be able to get that. Keyboard shortcuts aren't just something that we can handle as far as customizing right now, but of course we have a nice list of them, and many of the common shortcuts in other CAD programs like L for line, it's a common one. But we hear you. It's it's definitely something we understand. So let's see. There are some other questions, right?
Yeah.
Richard?
Well, there's a note there from John Carey or John McClary. He's asking that question. I don't know the answer to that, but if anybody can figure out how to do more things with the mixed modeling, it's going to be our users. So
yeah, definitely. You got to try this out. Just see how far you can take it. You can do a mold design, for example, John, with this. Like if you were to do a molded out piece, right? With an STL model, you would be able to, like, let's say you had an STL model of the Easter Bunny chocolate, and you wanted to create a mold, of that in the plastic, right? So you could get an STL file of the Easter Bunny and make a mold out of it, but the molded shape would not be a true quote unquote solid. So your CAM system would have to support the import of mesh data as well, which actually isn't that. I know many CAM systems do.
Yeah, so, it's not that uncommon, right?
Yeah. So that's just one of the gotchas that you just have to think about, when utilizing this. Think of your downstream apps and test that. Okay.
Yep.
Hey Malik, welcome from Tunisia.
Wow.
We're getting people from all over the world today.
Yes, we are.
Jacob, yeah, Maya's advanced surface modeling that people use. And Doug, as in solid, are all the faces referenceable? So yeah, the faces are a little different on a mesh model. You can select. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm like selecting the points,
Vertices. Yep. Vertices,
right on here. But I'm not able to select a surface per se, right? Because it might not actually be a surface. But this cylinder, it's showing me that I used extrude 14 on that. But that cylinder also is going through the lower leg at the same time, which is a BREP solid.
Yep.
So
the video in the forums, the update video,
yes,
on mixed modeling shows a technique to I think be able what you want to do, Doug. So take a look at that video and you'll see.
Yeah. This covers a lot of good situations here.
Basically using some standard operations to create nice flat surfaces that you can then reference. So
yeah. All right. So yeah, play with it. Definitely push it. See what happens.
And let us know how we can improve it.
Exactly. All right. Next improvement back on the forums page. Definitely make sure to check that out. Is improved replicate. So this one is really helpful when you have more than one part that you want to replicate from one place to another. And I'll just play the video here since Lindsay does such a great job at showing this off here. So we have the hinge here. It's already mated to the lower portion of this firebox, in a boiler or something like that, old school. So in this particular case, here she was explaining in the background. So she selected an entire assembly. She's using the fastened mate, and we're just going to pick, the places we wanted to copy to, right? So other CAD systems call this copy with mate. We call it replicate.
Yep.
Here, our replicate does a few other things besides what copy with mates does. But essentially, the update in this release was that we can utilize more than one part. You can actually use replicate on not just single parts, but more than one part at a time, like in that hinge assembly. So,
yeah, that's a great functionality.
Yeah.
Doug's still asking some questions over here about the mixed modeling, so I think we ought to take a look here real quick.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Yeah, so Doug, the first recommendation is to go ahead and watch that video. Like I say, there's a technique in there that's shown that will give you what you're looking for, that you're going to be able to create the hole. But one thing I didn't try, Michael, maybe we could.
Yeah.
Is there a way to use the vertices to create a plane?
Absolutely, and we've had that trick for a little while. Essentially, you can create. I'm just going to create a plane, right? So I'll just just went to another dog there. So you have the 3-point option right there, and this, since I don't have a plane to work on here, I would just pick 3 points somewhere along it, and then now I have a plane. Right there, and I can start doing stuff, right? And I'll just
and if you have existing planes, you could use an offset. If you wanted to grab that face to put that hole that you're showing in there, Michael, I believe you could use one of those vertices and an offset from a previously created plane. So
and you still have all of the mate connector type things as well. So like if I'm in plane 1, and instead of making, let's do this. We'll do an offset, of this to, here. We can do that kind of stuff, right? Creating planes like that. We can also just on the fly, let's put a sketch here. I'm going to put a hole there, and I want it to come in at an angle. So the mate connector option here is your best friend for, trying to kind of reorient your sketching plane. So I could even rotate, 45. So now we're drilling at this like compound angle. We'll rotate here at 45. That'll be better. And then I could do something, at this weird angle.
So I hope that answers your question, Doug.
Yeah. All right. Put our dog back here on the screen. All right. Next up, in context modeling update notices. And this one's a little difficult to set up, so I'm going to play the video for this one.
Yeah, there you go.
Although I do need to get a good example set up for live things shortly. So essentially, in context modeling in Onshape, if you're not familiar with it, it works off of the version history of the document. So when you're drilling a hole, or and you want to reference something that's already mated at the assembly, well, let's go with Lindsay's case here. She's moved over this heating element inside of the scientific kind of heating mantle here, and she wants to update the Boolean operation that removed the cutout in that piece of sheet metal, right? So you saw that update. So she has 2 contexts, one for the isomantle cuts and one for the sheet metal parts. And you can see here, these arrows indicate that these are the references for the cuts of the isomantle, that heating element that we cut through the piece of sheet metal. Now, the thing that is improved is that we get a really nice notification message, a clue, as Richard calls it, to show where that little dot shows, that little dot indicates that the cradle is actually the thing that needs to be updated. As soon as Lindsay moved that thermal unit, and I'll just back up a little bit, you see that that icon is not there, and now it was, because in the update, it goes so fast, but here we go. When Lindsay updates the in context update, because she moved the thermal isomantle unit, it will put that little blue dot next to the context that needs to be updated because of that. So we have permission-based, knowledge-based in-context updates in Onshape versus the free-for-all that can happen in a file-based CAD system. When you make a change, it could update in every single document where you might have had this, which is a little scary. It's powerful, but scary. Here, we're giving notifications and messages that, yes, of course, you should really check your isomantle, make sure this new situation fits up correctly, that you don't have any design for manufacturability issues, that kind of stuff. So this little dot is something that I think was sorely needed, because, we had this powerful in-context modeling, but, you would kind of have to check yourself. But now it's, giving us a nice message here showing us that clue that we need to make a change. So that one was really good, Richard, I think, because it was, it's a quality improvement, I would say.
Yep, I agree. Look at that, drawing improvements. I always start smiling when we see drawing improvements.
Exactly, yes. This one's also, really awesome because you can actually create very complex and interesting situations with version management in Onshape. For example, you could have a drawing in Onshape with the let me just show you.
Yeah. There you
go. So I have, this has tons of versions in it, right? This leg system that I'm working on, for this robotic dog. And perhaps I want to show two views side by side, one with version 39 and maybe one with version, 9 or something. I don't know, whatever it is. So let's make a drawing of this really cool looking leg. Stick it on a piece of paper. And of course, it's going to pull the latest workspace version by default when you do this, right? So, we'll just get rid of these other views. All right. So this is the workspace version. And, because I still haven't finished my full cup of coffee, it takes a minute for me to spell things right. Now, if I look at the tree over here, it's showing me that we're using the in-progress version of that part in this drawing view. All right. Now I'm going to copy this view and paste another view, just Command-C, Command-V. I'm on a Mac. So now we have this other view, and I can go to the properties of that. Oh, actually, let's do this. Actually, let's just show it here first, because I haven't tried this yet.
And we know the video works.
We know the video works. But yeah, I just need a little reminder. All right. So Lindsay's doing a great job. She created version 5, and you can see, okay, we have sheet 1 here. We have this part being used. In progress is the workspace, but she's using version 4 of that insert. When she inserted that view, the first time she made this drawing, she inserted it as version 4 instead of the workspace. Now, you can see the symbol here is showing us that it's out of date. It's not the latest. I really shouldn't say out of date, because there are situations where it's perfectly fine to have old versions of parts because that's what you sold to a certain customer or whatever else, and now you're at version 6 or 7 or whatever, and you want to make things with that too.
That's, in my opinion, that's one of the great things about Onshape, is that you can use those previous versions easily.
Right. So now you can see she went ahead and updated 1 to the latest one, one view with the latest, and one view is still using version 4 because of a situation that demanded it, right? So it's a very flexible system in that sense. You don't have, in a file-based CAD system, you really wouldn't be able to do this.
No.
Because of the way RAM works and the way files work and everything.
Files? What's a file?
Yeah, because, you load 2 files in the RAM, it thinks that whatever the first file loaded in the RAM is
it's the proper
the
file.
part, right?
Yeah.
And then the one you bring in next, it'll completely freak out.
Yep.
So that doesn't happen here, and you can do things like this because of that. Good. Let's check the comments here. Okay, so it looks like we're all update there.
Yep.
Okay. Next up, what is next on our list? Projecting a view from an auxiliary view.
Yep.
So, just one less step now to get your work done. We've got a little GIF image here that Lindsay had made, and she has a nice auxiliary view, and she just projected off of it, to get the 90-degree projection from that view, just like any other view now. So just once again, you see Lindsay just taking that edge at the angle, and then she wants to create a projected view from that. Probably, a situation that's rare, but when you need it, you need it.
Yep.
And we added frames a few updates ago, right? That's
yep. Already utilizing that functionality to redesign the framing of my tiny house.
Excellent.
So I got excited when I saw this update today or last night because I have an awful lot of, I call them 2x4s. They're frame members actually in Onshape, and I have an awful lot of them, and my cut list is very long. So it's nice to be able to split that up and move things around. So
yeah, and unsplit it. You can move it to other sheets too, so it works just like the other bill of materials now. So yeah, I think we added. When did we add? I guess it was just a few updates ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
I don't know. Time is weird.
Well, it's hard to keep track when we upgrade, every 3 weeks. So
it is, yeah.
Sometimes they run together. And
let's see. Next up, I want to actually we can actually just test this out right now. I love doing this. So here's a frame drawing right here. And yeah, I'm just going to show how we can split that out like that. Let's see, where did I put it? Did I just go crazy and lose where I was?
No, I think it's all the way to the right there, buddy.
Oh, yeah, it's underneath my other screen.
Oh, okay.
I have this crazy weird teleprompter thing that gets in the way sometimes.
And I love that you picked this model to show today because we had such a great user group meeting with Greg Brown, and I guess that was the podcast where Greg came in and showed us this. We've seen this at user group meetings. The things that you can do with frames functionality is just blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So what am I doing on this one? That's in progress.
But while you're doing that, got another question from Doug here. Can you unlock views from the master view?
Well, we'll give that a shot.
All right.
I was just working on a public document. I could make a change. So we'll just make a copy of that. So the question was, can you change the reference of the master view? Maybe not. Let's see here. That's the reference here in progress. Switch to reference, replace. So if I want the roll cage at a prior version, I only have start, which because I don't have many versions, I just made a copy of this. Looks like you can because I just put it on the start and these two views come from that. So this is the master and then that goes to here. And then we have, I can replace individual. Well, actually, let's actually make a master view here. Let's do this right. We have the right view. We're going to project a view. We're going to make it look like a really crappy drawing now, but all right, here's the back. So now we have the proper like parent-child kind of view here. Properties, where was it? Yeah, it looks like no. Yeah, because there is no replace option on the child view, which kind of sort of makes sense.
Yeah, I would, since it's a child, since it has a, push that around like that.
Yeah.
Nope, sorry, can't do that one.
Can't do that particular one. Yeah. All right, and then here's the split option right here. If I want to split this table, you just split it right there and just.
That's just
clean up a little bit, but yeah, it might be my angle or my point. My default point is probably not ideal. But yeah, so as you can see, I can make a good mess of a drawing really quick.
And I'm a big fan of these kinds of updates. I think we call them delighters sometimes. They're little, the direct modeling creation of, but time to document that, some flexibility with, and these are the kind of things that really get me excited.
Yeah. The drawing stuff is really important. Like this one right here, like, being able to edit the hatch pattern, right? Obviously we can do that. In this case, I would obviously want to make that a very different setting, but we've been able to do this obviously for a little while, being able to edit the hatch pattern. But the thing that was kind of weird is you'd have to know exactly what the ANSI codes were to know what your preview was. If you're like Richard and I, like using AutoCAD from in the 80s and 90s, you might know what ANSI 35 is, but for most people, it's nice to see a little preview picture of the hatch pattern that you're going to put on before you put it on.
Yeah. So, and again, just another little delightful change. So, hey, going back real quick, I think Doug has clarified his question. So what he really wants to do is detach the view from its parent and move it to a new position on the page, is what it looks like. That's certainly possible. Absolutely.
Yeah, that you can do. Yeah, that's just I'll just do it right here, just while we're live, right? So, suppress alignment with parent.
Yep.
And then you can just move it wherever. Or
I think you just made Doug happy.
Okay, good. I hope so.
And we got another visitor. Mukesh is here. We are very well, thank you, sir.
Yes, welcome to the show. Thanks. All right, next, what do we have next in the list, Richard? We have, yes, the style panel has been improved for geometric tolerances and notes.
Yep.
And I know that our friend and colleague Matt Rohr had created a nice drawing that had some geometric tolerances for the robotic dog here. So let's go ahead and get that drawing open. Go into the main version so we can make some edits. There it is. There's the chassis drawing.
I love that model. These days most of the CAD that I'm doing is my tiny house, but back when I was doing design work, this was the kind of stuff I got the pleasure of working with. And
it's I love we had a little extra time here to build a nice little model, and this was what we decided to build up as a team. But on this drawing that Matt Rohr made, let's see, I thought he had a geometric tolerance on it. Oh, there is a datum at least. Let's see if it works with datum. It's probably not. All right, let's put a geometric tolerance in something. We'll just say that this is centered. We'll do maximum material condition, datum A, datum B, datum C. And I'll place that on this one, I guess, since I got out.
I like it.
A little early.
10,000ths. You're not going to make your part too expensive.
Exactly. It's a piece of sheet metal, right? But you can see here, as soon as I pick geometric tolerance, well, we got the annotation style, text height. There we are. Now we can just change it right like that instead of like going into all the detailed note settings and changing every single one. Maybe this one's really important. You want it to stand out. I don't know.
And it does.
Probably not the right drafting standard to do it that way, but definitely, you know, being able to set the colors or you know, many companies have different situations where, you know, drawings are always like that. Drawings are very situation specific. Everybody has, you know, their own particular needs.
Yep. Every company loves drafting standards, and they all have a beautiful one of their own.
John has added a comment here, a little side note. John is an expert Onshape user. Suppress alignment parent is so much better than break alignment. Ah, yes. I remember that. I'm not going to bash anything from the old days, but yeah. Good. All right. I think that's it for the drawing improvements this update. We have one improvement on mobile, which deals with
Replicate.
Yeah, so the Replicate tool also works on the iOS version of Onshape. Just so you know, Onshape works on any browser, you know, except Internet Explorer, I think. And the old Internet Explorer, I should say. The new one, Edge, it works fine with. It works on any browser, Chromebook, whatever, you know, Mac, PC. But it also works on iOS, on both iPad OS and the phone iOS.
Works on my S11. Yep.
Yeah, works on Android. And those are apps that you download from Google Play or the Apple App Store, you know, and it's really just an interface layer. All the data's still in the cloud, and it's not like downloading files or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the thing here is that Replicate is now fully supported as well in the iOS Onshape app. Most of the commands are there. There's a few things that haven't made it to the mobile apps, but you know, for the most part, you can, you know, get a lot of stuff done, you know, with a device in your hand, you know, which is pretty cool.
So we've got a question from Michael. Can you guys comment on feature requests? Well, my first comment would be we love feature requests, so keep them coming.
I mean, we try not to say too much about future things, right? Because we're such an agile company, we're moving so fast with what we're adding to the system. So, and quality is a very important thing for Onshape. So we don't want to push anything before it's ready.
And as my position is, the user group coordinator and occasional podcaster, I don't really have insight into what's coming down the pipe. So, I'm just like a customer. I get to get really excited on update day, because I get to see this great stuff.
Doug actually has a good question.
Yep.
Worked on SolidWorks for many years, just like most of us here, I think, on this call. I see a lot of familiar faces and names.
Yep. Well, I'll take a shot at that one from my personal experience. So, I just started learning Onshape a little over 2 years ago. Initially when you call it up and you go in, it's very similar to a lot of the CAD programs that you've worked in. I mean, everything starts with sketching and extrude and that kind of thing. But what really made the difference for me was going through the Learning Center and going through the self-paced courses. Wonderful, short videos that show you how to do something. You can stop in the middle and you can come back and you can try it. So I highly recommend the Learning Center, and you can become, I became what I would consider proficient within the first couple of weeks. So easy to learn, very familiar, to most of the other CAD systems, like I say, sketching and extruding, that kind of thing. You'll do fine, Doug.
All right.
And one, I'm sorry, I have to mention it, but the S in Onshape is not capitalized, everybody.
Yeah, good call, Michael, on the cosmetic threads thing. That actually is something we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
So. Yep. All right. So what I'm going to do here next is the the next update is, and it's the final one for today. If you're interested in cool exploded views, you're going to see me generate a rendering. Let's see. And yeah, it might take a second for it to get that ready. The Onshape Render Studio full cloud rendering, but it supports exploded views now, right? Yeah. So let's just go over to the video here while I get mine loaded up. That was bad that I made coffee instead of preparing for that, but
well, the post that went out on LinkedIn yesterday said grab a cup of coffee, so
that's it.
That's what we did. While you're doing that, Doug asked about simulation, finite element analysis. We do have partner companies. Onscale is one.
Ansys, Yep. Ansys Onscale is.
In fact, that was just a recent kind of marriage. Onscale and Ansys, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So you can definitely do simulation in Onshape using Onscale, which is full SaaS cloud native app, runs right in your browser, and there is a special deal for paid Onshape subscribers so that they can get 500 hours of that product a year.
That's a really good deal, actually.
Which is a lot of simulation.
Yeah.
It does FEA, it does CFD. So that's available right now. Just go to you can see the App Store at the top of the screen. Just click that button and you'll have the opportunity to add Onscale to your Onshape environment.
And you can see Rod's comment there that he was a Creo user for 30 years, or probably still is a Creo user as well, and found Onshape very easy to transition to. So,
thanks, Rod.
Yep.
So yeah, as we were talking about that, but the exploded view functionality is now fully supported in the Render Studio for full. Well, let's see if I can do my live one. It's always better live, right? All right, here we are. We're loading up the rendering. Great. I actually haven't popped
Great.
up.
I love all the comments that are coming in about previous CAD system users that are now using Onshape and finding it really easy.
Thanks. Oh, good point on the training, Valerie. Yeah, the training built right into the platform. You can do self-paced or instructor-led training.
Yep. And welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us, Valerie.
Doug, on routing, that's something that we know is something that people would like. Nothing right now that we're working on right there.
But let's give Evan Reese a nice little plug here.
That's right,
because he has got a beautiful feature script. Doug, if you're not familiar with feature script, that's the programming language that Onshape is built around, and our customers can actually use that to create their own features. One of our top customers, Evan Reese, has created a very nice feature that would work, that would help you with your routing that you'd like to do in your models. So,
yeah, maybe we can put it in the comments in the show after or something, so we can put a link to his custom feature for doing some routing, some basic routing. It's routing is a deep and complex topic, obviously, so it's something that we know. But
did Evan show that on the podcast episode he was on?
I believe he did. Maybe
I think he did, or at least we saw a video of it.
We saw a little bit of it.
Yeah, maybe from Onshape Live.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rod also says Altair is very good as well. Like Altair SimSolid is one that works with Onshape very well as well. So there's a number of different simulation partners, obviously, out there that we can work with.
Yep. Nick P., another Creo user that switched to Onshape and found it very easy to become productive. So,
excellent. I think that's about it for what's new in the last 3 weeks.
Yep, another great update. I can't wait to see what the next 3 weeks bring. One last question there from Laurent. Where's the API documentation?
Yes. This is something that you can find in the help. I think we moved it to the help recently. Let's see. Mobile App Store. Unless I'm dreaming. Let's see, API. I know there's another way of getting to this, but I wanted to see if this method was available. Okay. There is another place where you can get it. You go to dev-portal.onshape.com.
Another great comment from Michael there. Yeah, just go to the forums and follow Evan Reese.
Exactly.
He's made a ton of great features, but there are several really great folks in the forum. Chad Stolfus is another. Chad does some remarkable things with FeatureScript. So, there are a lot of people that have utilized FeatureScript to do some amazing things, and they're always willing to share and help out fellow users. So I encourage you to hit the forums and start reading.
I just posted a link to the Onshape public GitHub page where we have the documentation of our REST API. There's sample apps as well that you can look at. It just brings you right to our GitHub API. So if you want to do advanced customization using the API, this is like connecting business systems together, like connect your PLM, ERP, things like that. Connect other business systems where you have FeatureScript, which is the other kind of side of customizing things. And FeatureScript is like what we were talking about with Evan, right? And Evan created a custom feature to simulate a routing experience, essentially. So definitely just search Onshape FeatureScript. Is a great active community in the forums for FeatureScript. And there's my exploded view in the rendering. And I can just do some green paint or something.
Silly question here, Michael. I'd like to add a comment as well, and can't figure out how to do that.
Well, you should be able to use the comment, just the regular comments, just like everybody else here in the stream that we have here.
Yeah, I don't find a place to put
maybe you don't have it. Maybe I didn't give you the power.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to Slack you a link, and if you wouldn't mind displaying that.
Absolutely.
And then I'll explain what it's for in a second.
Thanks, Rod, for sharing the FeatureScript documentation as well. Gotta love Slack here. Thanks, Richard. Bet most people on this call use Slack.
Yep. Well, I figured, we're probably getting close to the end of the show here. So I wanted to do a little plug for our regular podcast that comes out every 2 weeks on Thursday. And with that link, you'll be able to find a link to all of the places that you can either watch or listen. We do on YouTube, and we appreciate people coming in and watching the Innovators Insider podcast.
Indeed. There was one quick question that I just want to answer for Doug. It's probably something that you'd want to get with me on later or something because it's a detailed answer. But Excel driving Onshape dimensions, of course, we're not, we would do it a little differently, right? So, you could build something that would connect the, Excel to Onshape, but it might not be worth your while because with Onshape, you can build configurations, with math built into them and multiple levels of configuration. So we have our own table editor in here for that, right? So if I were to go to a part, let's see, where are we? There we are. So there we are. There's the specifications. We have some numbers that we might want to configure that. We want to configure this. We want to configure the skeleton dimension right here. Right, and then we're going to do all our math in here using the tables built into Onshape instead of Excel, right? Because you can imagine, being a full cloud SaaS app running in a browser, connecting Excel to something like this would be a little weird.
Yep. So doesn't Excel use something called files?
Yeah. Michael is bringing up the point. Thanks, Mike. That the configurations in Onshape are a very deep topic. I encourage you to just kind of Google Onshape and configurations. You'll find a bunch of good examples. But of course, we're happy to talk with you on a one-on-one basis as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're just about at time. I really, really want to thank everybody for watching and sharing their thoughts. It really makes it well worthwhile.
It makes it certainly worthwhile for me to get up at 4 a.m. on the West Coast to do this. And I think people already know I'm an early bird anyway. The other thing that was great about today's show is the people coming in, not only watching and listening, but helping each other out. I mean, helping us to answer the questions that were asked.
And Jack, there are ways of importing CSV files in Onshape and actually using that to drive things in Onshape. I have an example. Maybe I can find you on LinkedIn after and share a link to a document that has something like that. And John has used Excel to drive Onshape dimensions for a while. Oh, of course you have, John. I should have thought. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's some cool stuff coming that John's an ambassador, so he gets a little sneak peek at a couple of things as being a member of the ambassador program. So
that he's not supposed to talk about, but we'll cut him some slack this morning.
This time it's okay because we showed it on Onshape Live.
Yep.
Thank you, Tanvir, for attending. And Jack, yes, of course, I'll try to find that link and shoot it your way as soon as I can.
And thank you, Michael, for driving today.
Of course.
For driving the computer. I really appreciate that. I like to be the guy that sits here and does the rah-rah kind of stuff and talk about how excited I am about those new drawing improvements, and drawing enhancements. So it's been a great show today. Wow, we were on for almost an hour today.
Yeah, I think really made it a lot better having some folks that we could collaborate with and work live with. So this is all recorded, of course, as well. So if you want to come back and look later, it'll be on YouTube and LinkedIn.
Yep, this has been really exciting. I can't wait to get out on social media and tell all the people that missed it how great it was.
Oh, and John has one more tip. Import the CSV into your doc. Use feature script to read the CSV. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to send to Jack. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I'm going to end the broadcast. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you in 3 weeks. And in fact, we're next week we have a great podcast episode dropping as well. We're recording later today. So.
Yeah, we've got some great guests coming up. So looking forward to it.
All right.
Take care, Michael.
All right. See you later. Bye.